right. Welcome, everybody. This is Tom Randall. Looks like it's 10 o'clock, and I know your time is valuable, so we'll get started here today. It's again, this is Tom Randall for Goldencare, and we got my partner in crime here, Dennis Reiner, on the call. And Dennis and I have had the pleasure or honor, or sometimes the turmoil of working together for pretty much all of our careers. I'm in my 27th year here at Goldencare, and I think I've worked side by side at some level or the other with Dennis through all those years. So it's our pleasure to talk about today the home health care only plans in our short-term care, Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative. And we're really excited to get into this and show you how these plans fit into the overall scheme of things and how we go out and can help as many Americans as possible. So Dennis, again, you're in good hands with Dennis. When we get into the sales stuff, especially, we really have a lot of fun together doing these webinars and teaching you and giving you some of our expertise. Between Dennis and I couldn't even count the number of agents we've talked to and educated and presented to over the years. And we've both had the pleasure and honor of being blessed to have the opportunity to give a bunch of consumer live seminars as well through those years. So Dennis, go ahead and say hi, check your sound.
Hey, welcome everyone. Glad you could join us. This is a great topic, and we look forward to it.
Perfect. And, you know, I always start out and I always give Dennis a hard time saying he probably gets sick of seeing this slide. But at the end of the day, for folks like you, and I'm sure some of you have been on other webinars that we've given and have seen this before, you know, stats are stats, and some people like to use them, some don't. But at the end of the day, I just make sure agents see it because of the fact that it's so important. I'm very passionate about what I do, and Dennis is the same, because we know there's such a huge need for it. There's such a big amount of Americans out there with gray hair nowadays. We know baby boomers are turning 65 and 70 faster than you can count. And at the end of the day, most of those folks have never heard of long-term care, short-term care, or extended care. They know it's out there, but they've never had a serious conversation about it. And if you look at the odds, it's pretty staggering. 70% of folks now over age 65 are going to need some type of extended care at some point in their life, especially when we're talking about these short-term care type products that have relatively loose claim triggers. So people will use them a lot more often than even our traditional long-term care that some of you might be familiar with. So at the end of the day, we know it's something that everybody needs to do, and we need agents like you to step out of your comfort zone just a little bit, whether you're selling Medicare or life products or final expense or anything else out there. We know that you need to finish those conversations with just a couple words, and we'll show you how easy that's to do in our sales seminars, sales webinars, excuse me, when we go in and show you it's easy to start the conversation. It's easy to go out and help those folks much easier than you may think. So again, one of the things with COVID, people got a much more awareness of the need for this. So that's probably the only good thing that came out of COVID. So we're really in a good spot right now. And it's something that I'll turn it over to Dennis, and he can talk about the shifting market a little bit as we get into this home healthcare side of it and see what we can do for our clients out there. So Dennis, go ahead.
Thanks, Tom, and thanks everyone again for joining us. Those stats, they don't get old, as Tom said, because they're real, and you know, no one's exempt from having to maybe step in one day, and we all have personal experiences, I think, in that area. But what's happened in the marketplace over the recent years, and it's accelerating actually right now at an alarming pace, and that is that the consumers and agents are actually demanding that they have products that are more consumer friendly. And what they're looking for is products that really have less underwriting, that have less riders, moving parts, as we like to call it, and are less costly. And so that's the emergence of what's happened in the short-term care, extended care space. And then when we talk about the standalone home healthcare products today, this statistic really comes into play. 80% of mature Americans 65 plus have had at least one chronic condition, which means that client who is 65, 70, 75, 80, I mean, these products go really up through the 80s in most cases. And these are individuals who their health has changed along the way. They're not in the great health that they might have been in when they were, 45 or 50. So that's why these products are important, because of the aspect of being able to to help more individuals. As Tom said, we're in the problem solving business, and we should never forget that. And clients depend upon us no matter what state we live in. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But Tom, we always say this: everything starts and stops with one thing, and that is who will take the case. And so underwriting and availability are certainly important. I know that maybe just to help the group on the call today, to put it in perspective, maybe some of the differences between these home care only plans and some of what exists in the extended care space. So I'll let you share that, and I know we'll talk about availability, and we'll go on from there.
You bet. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, one of the things it's kind of been a fun industry. Dennis and I have been up to our necks in this short-term care, even more than we have over the last 10 years. The short-term and home health care only markets, especially, we've been just up to our necks in the last 3 or 4 years as we've really worked with Goldencare and our integrity carrier partner relationships, et cetera, to help develop a lot of these plans and help, kind of see what's going on in the industry. And it's been kind of cool because it's really starting to hit critical mass right now, where we're seeing more and more product enhancements and new products coming on. And a lot of carriers starting to talk about saying we can't miss out on this because they're seeing that shift in the market that Dennis talked about. So for some of you might not be as familiar with it, just a real brief overview. I'm going to make this slide pretty quick. But basically, out in the short-term care side of it, there's limited benefit home health care only plans that are really nice because they throw the net super wide. And those are the products we're going to talk about today. But you'll see the underwriting super lenient, so we can get almost everybody in there, and we can have, they have more design benefits and limited benefits in their home health care only. So we'll talk about that there's no facility side of it, obviously. So there's a lot less risk to the carrier. And we're going to have some fun today because one of the carriers just did a really nice enhancement of their home health care only plan that really stacks it up and does a great job. So we're pretty excited about that. And we'll get into that in a few minutes. But on the other side of the market, again, this isn't long-term care. These are short-term care plans, which is a whole nother story that they can be very robust. And we talk a lot about that as we get into our sales side of it and our short-term care product training. But these larger short-term care plans out there are very flexible. You can design them down or you can design them up. But because of the fact you can design them up to be, we can get up to $1 million on some of these short-term care comprehensive plans. So what we have with that is that there's more knockout questions. They still throw the net much wider than long-term care, like Dennis said. But because of that, there's much larger and comprehensive benefits. And again, there's facility benefits included in those too. So today, our highlighted home care only plans are GTL's home health care only plan, short-term home health care plan, and Manhattan Life's Home Care Select, and True Freedom Home Care plans, which isn't even an insurance product, but we'll talk about that, which has great availability because it's in all 50 states. And it's a kind of a prepaid home care plan, a membership type plan that we'll talk about a little bit today too, and it's really strong. Our comprehensive short-term care plans that we won't get into today are, of course, Manhattan Life's Omniflex, GTL's Recover Cash, and our newest entry, Wellaby's Essential Care short-term care plans. So that being said, the nice part about it is you can go out there with confidence knowing that you don't have to go to med school. The underwriting is very simple, and we have tools to make it easy for you. And if you get on our sales webinars or on our site that we'll show you before we're done today, you're going to see we make it easy for you to give protection to almost anybody you can be in front of in all 50 states. We have some form of protection for them. So that's the important part. So you don't have to feel like you don't have something to offer to most of the folks you're working with day in and day out doing your normal thing. So Dennis, if you want to talk a little bit about the maps, I think I have on here both maps for the short-term care and the home care next.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. It's we're always updating these maps because there's always new state availability that's happening. And so you can see here on the short-term care, what we like to call the extended care plans. You've got GTL Recover Cash, been out the longest of this menu, and therefore in approximately 37 states, and probably won't see any more states. That's about at least what we experienced so far in trying to get some of these other problematic states approved, that all the carriers would probably hope for. Omniflex is 31. We started with 13 with the original soft launch, and they've been adding states very good. And Tom just put his cursor on the state that I believe this weekend should be hitting is Indiana. That'll be our 32nd state. And then yesterday we just did a Wallaby product training, and Wallaby is the latest entry into the short-term care arena, and they're starting out with 10 states. They have a little bit of a different approach. They like to do them in 5-state increments as far as how they add them versus just state by state. And so you'll see it's color coded here, so you can see where all 3 products are available, where Omniflex and Wallaby is available. And then again, as Tom just alluded to, you'll see that gray area, which is, and now you'll see the blue area, which is gray, blue.
There we go.
It doesn't matter what color it is. It's as it relates to availability for these extended care, even home care products. They're all the same: California, New York, Florida, Minnesota, where Tom's at. I happen to live in Michigan, so you can see we got coverage there. But it's there's some states are just very difficult, and that's why, as I said earlier about being in the problem-solving business, your clients don't really, they're not going to say, hey, I'm going to move from California to Michigan just because of state availability. You got to solve the problem where they live, and that's why we need these other products. In the home care side, again, the same color-coded. You'll see with Manhattan that they have a previous version, which is their legacy version, that has the remaining states, and those states should be coming on board one by one in the home healthcare select. And as Tom said, there's a lot of similarity. We're going to talk about some of the similarity, but we're going to talk about the differences and really help you to understand, because some of you may be big fans of GTL, you might be big fans of Manhattan, and we all have we all feel maybe stronger towards one carrier that we've just, found it easy to do business with. But, the point is that we have all these solutions that are available to you to be able to go to your client. And so, Tom, with that, I know that you want to talk a little bit about kind of a little side by side here that we can, get that bird's eye view and show the similarity, and we can talk about some of the differences.
You bet. Yeah, that's thanks, Dan. And one of the things you'll see with these plans, again, one of the biggest abilities of the plans is the availability. So we talk a lot about that, and we mean that not only in the states that they're available in, but also for the underwriting, right? People are starving, like Dennis said in his intro. They're starving for something that's simpler, something that throws the net wider and has the availability to cover more people. And that's not just agents, that's consumers thinking the same thing. You know what I mean? They want to buy something, they understand something that's simple. And these home healthcare plans are the epitome of that. These the insurance products we're talking about now, we'll talk about True Freedom in a couple minutes. But you're going to see there's not a lot of huge blaring differences between the original GTL short-term home care plan and the Manhattan Life home care plan. There are subtle differences, and then we'll talk a little bit about the enhancements recently for the GTL plan. But the issue ages, you can see there, 61 to 85, 45 to 89. So again, these plans, like the short-term care plans we're dealing with, really nice broad ranges for the ages. And with the service days on this, they cover 1 year. These home health care plans cover 1 year, 360 days or 365 days for Manhattan. So little subtle differences there. And there may be minor state differences as well, just so you're aware of that. And basically, they call them different things, but they have 3 plans. A, B, and C, or Classic, Premier, and Deluxe is what Manhattan calls theirs. And without even pulling up the brochures, it's really simple to see. These are what we call truly designed benefit plans. So if you go on claim, regular claim triggers, same as we have for short-term care, you need help with 2 of 6 ADLs, and you don't have that 90-day requirement like you have for long-term care, if you're familiar with long-term care. But after that, then it's literally 2 of 6 ADLs or cognitive impairment that you need. So functionally disabled or mentally or cognitively disabled. So that's pretty easy to hit the claim triggers. And when you do, if you get any of these specific services on any given day, these are still indemnity plans. So if you get any of these specific services for any given day, you can have this plan pay those specific amounts. Okay. And then again, the maximum combined daily benefit you can see on top there is 150 for plan A, 300 for plan B, or 450 for plan C. So they're the same there. And you can see again, they're almost similar. Skilled nursing pays at the same exact amount for both companies. General nursing, Manhattan kind of lops that in with skilled nursing, where GTL specifies that it's a little bit lower amount for general nursing, which makes sense. But again, any day you have an actual service, you'll get paid that indemnity amount regardless of the actual cost. So a lot of times if you're working with plan B, their most common plans, or plan C, you might end up getting more for that day even than what the actual costs were, and that's fine. Okay. So all the different things, I'm not going to read each one, but you can see for each specific type of service you may have, you're going to get a specific amount, and then all those would add up to that total amount. Does that make sense? Now, the home health aid is the one that they had a significant enhancement for GTL, but the way their product works in a lot of states still, and I'll show you a map, it's 40, 80, and 120, the exact same as what we have for Manhattan. And the home health care aid benefits, which are the most common type of care you get at home, that's why these plans can throw the underwriting net so wide. Traditionally, they were paid for just 60 days. Okay. And again, that's great because they throw the net wide. So it's still really powerful to have that. But again, that was a way to protect the company. And then they have this prescription drug benefit in there, which is a reimbursement benefit. The average 65-year-old today, remember, uses, it has 27.3, I think it is, prescriptions, refills, or new prescriptions per year. So people will get these prescription drugs. You don't have to be on claim. From the first day you get your policy in effect, you can start keeping track of those refills or prescriptions, and it'll give you $10 for generic, $10 for $10 for generic and $25 for brand. Sorry, Dennis, we've given too many of these today. I'm stumbling again. But anyway, they're really nice, and most people will use part of that, or most of it in some cases. So Dennis, I don't know if you want to jump in. I'll let you handle the increases if you want. It's up to you, or I can keep going.
Sure, Tom. I mean, it's always nice to be able to share good news. So if there was a decrease, I would have let you handle it. So here on the home health aid, this is a game changer. You know, the GTL, they are so nimble, and we've worked with them for so many years and have just watched, and we've had, you know, influence and input with them, and they've gone above and beyond even what we could have asked for. And that is that the changes, when Tom was talking about the 40, 80, 120, they've upped it now to $50, $100, and 150. But the big change there is that aid going from 60 days to the 360 days, which is the same benefit period that we have in the short-term care. So we'll be, in the future, we'll be talking about some great combo opportunities, and as far as how to position, you know, more than just this product, and some bundling and combo approaches. No increase of premium. And then the other enhancement is, if you've been on our training on the Recover Cash, you know a little bit about that great technology-driven service called T-Care that has provides a resource to the caregivers, to help the caregivers in so many different ways, and also where they can now get a lump sum to help the family out. Because remember, still 80% of all care in this country is informal care. It's care that's by and large by family and friends. And even when someone has a plan, it doesn't mean that they're not going to still get help, because home care typically is intermittent. People don't get care every day, so they might be getting care 2 days a week. So if a family can get some additional cash, a one-time $3,500, it's fantastic. So it was really nice to see that they add that in, the same as what's in the Recover Cash, the short-term care product. Okay. So Tom, this is just, you know, and not to change the rates. This is great news.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying when we're kind of seeing some fun in the market, Dennis. This is I think we're going to take a little credit for it deep down, truthfully. I think GTL saw some of our training for some of our new short-term care plans, and they saw what was happening with this short-term care initiative, et cetera. And again, that's totally unsolicited. I'm thinking that might be the case because boy, these carriers are aggressive, and GTL's always been really limber, and they move quickly depending on what's going on and what the needs are in the marketplace, and that's one of the things we love about them. And I think it's kind of fun to see these carriers now starting to respond to what's going on around them and jumping in there. So it's kind of cool to see that. I know even like Aetna now, which used to be one of the major players in the comprehensive short-term care market, now the buzz is that they're coming out with a new short-term care plan that's probably going to have some nice enhancements, and that'll probably be in the middle of the year next year. But it's kind of cool to see these carriers move, and this is a huge move, like Dennis said. And just to be really clear, no increase in premium for the right-hand side of the screen for that home health care, significant. 360 days, huge for home health aid. I'm really impressed they can do that with no increase in premium. On the other side, the T-Care is such a valuable service with that 3,500 that there is a little premium change in that from their old plan. They did have to add in just a premium load, we call it. So just so you're aware of that. So if you see the prices are a little bit different than what it was, it's because of that T-Care side of it. Okay. So that being said, if you look at it, they're releasing this pretty aggressively, and you can see there the blue states on the right hand side of the dark purple is where the new short-term home health care plan is approved in Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas. I shouldn't say the purple, it's the right, just the blue, I would assume. And they do have other plans coming out. We thought this would be really fast at this point, but they must have to do something at the state level that's a little more aggressive, because I heard on one of their recent webinars, Dennis, that he said Louisiana might be coming in a month or so it may not be popping out quite as quick as we thought originally with these other states. But they were aggressive there. I didn't count them, but they have quite a few states available already for short-term, the new enhanced plan. Does that make sense? So you'll see when we get the new enhanced plan, I'm just going to jump over there. We won't go through it, but just so you know, the new enhanced plan, oops, it's on the wrong screen. There we go. The new enhanced plan has a new brochure and everything. Remember the old brochure, what it looks like? You'll see that it'll come out, look a lot like their short-term care plan, the new design, and it'll talk about T-Care quite a bit, and it'll show the different benefits, et cetera. And home health aid now, I'm glad I showed this actually, just so you guys know, it's now part of this same 150, 300, and 450. You see, it's just added to that list. So again, it's a little bit different than it was before, but the beauty of it is you now could have theoretically 360 days of that. Okay, Dennis, I'm going to pop back over here. And one of the things,
Tom, just one thing on that prescription drug, because one of the other enhancements that they made earlier was they moved that plan C from 600 up to 900, which was really, again, no one else in the industry has, at least at this point, either one of those changes. But all these carriers, they seem to emulate each other, and so don't be surprised if either if there's a new entry in the marketplace, or if Manhattan makes some adjustments, because that's the nature of how they're all dialed in on trying to stay on the leading edge of plan design here. And so I don't know if you want me to take the GTL, or if you want to handle that.
Yeah, go ahead and take it. And I'm just going to give a caveat as I hand it over to Dennis. This is a picture of their existing, the application with the new policy. And in a lot of states, they have just slightly tweaked this. It's the same questions. They just broke it into 3 questions and then an extra 4th question for Plan C, Dennis. It covers the same things. It's just little more information on the cognitively impaired. It'll say, have you been treated for Alzheimer's, et cetera. So we don't have a picture of that here, but I wanted you to be aware of it if it looks a little different when you see it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's great, Tom. And keep in mind a couple things. One, how easy these plans are to sell, again, because the net is thrown wide on the underwriting front. GTL does ask that question in Plan C, because remember, it's a more robust benefit. You're getting $450 a day, plus you could get reimbursed up to $900 on that prescription drug. So you're going to see again how no MIB, no phone interview, no asking for medical records. These are truly jet issue plans, both with Manhattan and with GTL. And so you need that. You need to have in today's marketplace. Not everyone is going to be healthy enough to get, even with our great short-term care plans that have two-tier underwriting. You need to make sure that you have a place. And this is, I'm not going to tell you it's 100% GI because it isn't. These are the questions, but it's pretty darn close to having getting a very high percentage of your clients approved with GTL. And
Right.
Manhattan is, I don't know if I know that we've got the Manhattan, which is there's a slight difference. And Tom, I want to point that out when we go to the Manhattan difference. If you notice on the GTL asked about unable to perform the activities of daily living, or they asked about cognitive impairment. Manhattan doesn't have the cognitive impairment question. And so it's really just are you currently living in a facility? We can't help people who are already, getting care. But that's why it's so important to be proactive and to help people to plan ahead while they still have their health and can still answer even these very limited questions. And I know that, if we want to throw the net even the widest that we can, that's True Freedom. And you want to take that, Tom?
Yeah, True Freedom's actually really a nice plan. This is something that a lot of people aren't aware of, and it's not an insurance plan. So I want to make sure you're clear on that. But it's really been gaining traction. It's been around for a long time, and we've had it here at Goldencare for quite a while, and we've really started using it quite a bit more in the past years because we kind of went to this pivot approach where we say, remember, we helped design the Mutual Omaha plan, so we sold a lot of, I think, between a couple of our agencies, our friends out in Yakima and here, we've written over $1 billion of long-term care over the years. So we were really firm believers in long-term care from day one, back when they first came out, really. And what we've seen is that those got tougher to place, like Dennis talked about, with the shifting market. So several years ago, or 10 years ago, maybe, we started doing the pivot process where we started saying, you buy these more nowadays with your health than you do with your checkbook. So why not, instead of just go pitch long-term care and find out half the people can't get it, we started realizing that we needed to say, let's talk about your health first and then kind of pivot into whatever product fits best for you. And we started saying, well, your ultimate goal is to try to get long-term care if you could, because that's a great plan. And then we started moving into short-term care with the comprehensive benefits. And then if their health was a little bit worse, we'd say we can keep moving. And now these plans are getting so good, I think it's kind of even a little bit different where it's a lot health related. That's a huge part of the ability, is their availability through underwriting. But on the flip side, these plans are so robust now. You look at that GTL home healthcare plan, there might be people who qualify for some of the short-term care plans. So we say, boy, we're definitely going to give them that home care plan, whether it's a bundle with another product or on its own. Same thing with True Freedom. We used to kind of look at it originally as, well, it's available in all 50 states. And if there's nothing else out there, True Freedom's a great option. And we've really shifted gears now, saying there's people who really like this plan, and there's people who purchase this plan even when they're healthy enough to get some of the other options out there. So we want to make sure we don't undercut this plan. But basically, it's like a service contract, kind of a prepaid home care plan. And it's like a membership type deal, like you have AAA and you get discounts on things. Same concept here. And the benefits are non-medical for home care services. So we want to make sure that's clear. And they're not insurance, so there's no medical underwriting. So it's like I said, as long as you're not getting care right now, then they have just a little suitability question, they call it, and you can go out and get any one of these plans. And Dennis, if you want to talk about the power of the plans, you can go ahead or
sure.
jump
Yeah,
in.
that'd be great, Tom. Well, as Tom talked about suitability, it's, are you living independently and are you not ADL deficient? That's it. It's and so, if you were to pick up the phone today and call True Freedom, you would not hear about what we're going to share with you right now. True Freedom has, they have an individual plan. The individual plan is just bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. On the individual side, the base plan does not exist. The other thing that does not exist is the exclusive 10% member discount. But because you're part of the Integrity family and one of our partners invited you onto this call, you need to know that we're actually doing something very special by allowing our partner agents to offer the true freedom and to participate in what we call the affinity side. Now, we do a lot of affinity business with, with whether it's union groups or associations or chambers of commerce or church groups. But what we're also now doing is we're treating your client, that Medicare client, collectively because of Integrity's bandwidth, as if it was their own affinity. And so therefore your clients will get a 10% member discount in addition to the other discounts without any comp reduction. And so you can see here that for the Medicare space, we needed to have a lower end option. That's why we have the base plan that goes all the way down to 600 hours current value. And remember, these plans stay up with the cost of care. As care costs go up, so is the value of the plan. And you can see here, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Bronze and silver make up about 35% of all sales. Gold is around 18, and platinum, surprisingly, is around 20. And there's people that want that 10,000 lifetime hours. They've had, personal experiences, and so as Tom said, these plans can be very robust in terms of what they can cover, and we're not going to get too deep into the training side of it, but you should just know that from a value proposition, there's some really good value. There's still some very good leverage, and the rates are the same in for all ages, and they're unisex rates. So an 18-year-old pays the same as a 90-year-old, and they've got a great lineup of home care agencies. If the client wants to use the agency hours, which are 9 to 5, you can just see all these are familiar names. And it wasn't that way, nearly 17 years ago. It was kind of they had to really, be very convincing to get some of those early adopters. But now they've got all these home care agencies coming to them because of the success of their particular program. And that's one way by which clients can get benefits. But unlike long-term care, there is no care coordination. There's no, if the client needs services, they just call up, and within 72 hours contractually, they have to start and provide that plan and connect them. And by the way, this is just a small list. They've got regional carriers and many more that are available. Just to point out that Synergy, actually, in some of the material you'll see on our site, Synergy did a testimonial video, and they're the third largest home care agency in the country. And they referred to True Freedom as the gold standard because how they pay their claims literally the next day after receiving the invoice. So good stuff, Tom, as it relates to making sure that clients have more options. And again, it's all about being prepared and not having to react to a problem and waiting because care is not going down as far as the cost of care. And it's something to, just make sure that people are aware of. But it's a great lineup to have. And the site that Tom's taking you to is the site that we've created for your benefit, so that you really have a one-stop shop to get everything that you need in this particular care space, which includes short-term care and the standalone home health care, including the True Freedom. So Tom, I'll let you kind of navigate through and give a high-level overview of how powerful this site is.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dennis. And again, we want to make sure that we're not just going to say, go out and help your folks and then toss you out of the plane without a parachute. We did design this site, and so far agents have really liked it, and our partners have loved to have this resource available to you as agents, because of the fact that it starts out here on the home page, and it's just integritystc.com. And I'll get into the sales area maybe in a second as we finish up today, but we have all the tools you need. You saw the underwriting today for these home healthcare only plans are very simple, so you probably wouldn't even need something like the InstaPivot tool that'll walk you through and show you exactly what policy would be available in any given state for any given client based on their health. And today we probably won't get into that, but I do want you to know we have training on all these comprehensive short-term care plans individually that we've done as a webinar, and we have that on the recorded area that I'll show you. And we have Omniflex Manhattan, Recover Cash from GTL, and the new Wellaby Essential Care plans. And if you click on learn more on there, they're going to give you more information and marketing materials, et cetera, for each of those plans. Okay. Same thing as the plans we talked about today. These are the home health care only plans. We included 3 of them in our Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative. And here's that Manhattan plan. Here's the GTL, and here's the True Freedom plan that Dennis just told you about. So if you click on either one of these, we do have a full training, recorded training for True Freedom that you might want to catch, because that was a little bit different. So we figured we better do one webinar just on True Freedom. And then we have a lot of materials that you'll like on either one of these plans. Like if I click on the GTL home healthcare plan and click on it, you'll see a video will pop up. Might be a little delayed for you guys. There's going to be a video popping up, and we're right in the process. They just announced those enhancements for the GTL plan like we talked about. So you're going to see this area. This is a living, breathing tool that you're going to see. We'll have probably a couple different videos and a couple different options to view either the existing plan or the new plan. So that's all a work in progress, because that's such a new development. But you'll see in the product highlights, presentations, brochures, all the different things you need to be successful out there for your folks that you're working with. So I won't go any more on that, because we know your time is valuable. But if I go to the sales and marketing area, again, there's going to be a little delay because we're on a webinar. There we go. Here's some stats we talked about. And then when you go down to the sales and marketing area, if you go into the product and sales training, you're going to see that you can go to a full webinar showcase, or you can use this drop down here. And if I go to the full webinar showcase, it should show you the short-term care initiative. And here's a bunch of videos that if you want to, and you want to be bored to tears listening to Dennis and I yap at you, you can go in there. Here's the True Freedom product. Here's the GTL short-term care product, coaches forum. And the nice thing about this, product training is one thing, but where we really specialize is trying to give you guys sales ideas. So plan choices and design, start the conversation, everything you need to be successful. And there's even more of these videos down here if you click page 2. So hopefully you're going to be pleasantly surprised and realize that we have a lot of tools for you to be able to go out and be successful. And if you go down here at the bottom, there's power and personalized plan designs and some other that are Dennis specific that we call them fireside chats in some areas. And we can go in there and show you some of the power of learning about this market in general. So Dennis, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. I don't think we need to go into the InstaPivot today because it's home healthcare only, but anything you'd like to add, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, Tom, I think that, we wanted to share, really, we're opening up the closet here to everything that we've learned over all the many years that Tom and I have been in the business. And we love to hear back if you watch any of those recordings, and if you pick up a phrase or a statement, or you see, when Tom goes through and demos like how to use that InstaPivot. By the way, that's his fingerprints are all over that in terms of the design, and so we are committed to helping each of our partners agents to succeed. We know that as you provide this service, I've said for many, many years that money is a byproduct of a service, that money takes care of itself if you always do what's right for the client. And you can make a great living. And for those of you in the Medicare space, packaging and whether you package, layer, cross-sell, stack, however you want to say it, the opportunity is endless as far as not only to have the stickiness of the relationship with that client by layering in another product, but also the service that you're providing. And then again, you're rewarded for your time and for your efforts. So Tom, the site's there for their use, and we couldn't be happier to have spent the time to put it together on their behalf.
You bet. And again, the next thing as we let you go today, next thing for you to remember is that it really is up to you. The next step for you is to contact the marketer that got you on this webinar. Get appointed with these carriers. Ask them about, how do I get going with all the carriers in the short-term care initiative? If you can do it, I appreciate it, because your clients will really appreciate it. And you'll hear our webinars showing you how to use like the InstaPivot, or how to easily use your favorite carrier. You don't have to go to med school, guys, to learn how to go out and help people with these plans. You can see they're very simple, and they're not as big a learning curve as you may think, because the number one goal is to get some type of protection for everybody you're sitting in front of. And again, we'll show you in our sales training just how easy it is to do that. You don't have to step too far out of your comfort zone to go out and really help a lot of Americans. And again, help yourself as well by keeping that persistency for your Medicare products, your life products, or whatever you're selling by having multi-lines. And you'll make great money, like Dennis said, because these products pay really well as well for your time. So that being said, unless Dennis has any final thoughts, I will tell you, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate all you do and appreciate you jumping on this webinar, and hope to see you again. Dennis?
Thank you, everyone. Look for another one. We're finishing up this week strong. We've got 2 more to go, and then we'll be back at it, and we'll have a new schedule for you sometime in the near future. So thanks, everyone, for attending.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
The next step is yours. Contact your marketer for more information and to start offering short-term care solutions to your clients. And be sure to sign up for our other short-term care hot topic webinars.